Do you know why bears are considered the most cunning animals? My blood ran cold when I learned the truth. My name is Lin Yu, and I am an ordinary university student. Bored during university holidays, my boyfriend Zhu Wai and I casually signed up for a tour group, never expecting that something terrifying would happen. Zhu Wai, have you packed everything for the trip? Yep, it's all here. Check if there's anything else we need to bring. Zhu Wai is my boyfriend from university. We were in different majors. I was in the finance department, and he was in animal management. We didn't meet through school group activities, but rather through an online game. After adding each other as friends, we discovered we were alumni from the same school, and after meeting in person for a month or two, we officially became a couple. Soon, the day of our trip arrived. We were heading to a valley with incredibly beautiful scenery. The rafting project there greatly appealed to me, so I signed up for the tour without hesitation. It was already past 3 in the afternoon. The tour guide, holding a megaphone, announced a warm welcome to everyone who chose our tour group. I'll be spending the next period of time with all of you. Please take a short break now. We'll gather here at 4 o'clock to begin our hike. Before then, please make sure you're energized and have your climbing gear ready. Zhu Wai and I found a random spot to sit down. During the break, I took out my phone and scrolled through short videos on Douyin, then casually searched for the valley we were in. Many videos there had been posted by previous visitors. After watching the videos, I grew even more excited about the upcoming activities. Throughout the hike, everyone was in high spirits. I discovered that one of my gaming friends was also in this group. Since we had never seen each other's photos or knew each other's real names, I hadn't realized it at all when we first joined the tour. In the game, she called me Crescent, and I called her Orchid. After recognizing each other, we exchanged names. Her name was Lan Qiu, and she used to work as an internet cafe manager. Wow, what a small world. I just randomly signed up for this tour and never expected to meet you here. I didn't expect it either. Who knew we had such a strong connection? Throughout the journey, she and I chattered away endlessly, treating my boyfriend next to us as if he were invisible. Today's hiking activity has successfully concluded here. Well done, everyone. Please set up your tents, and if anyone needs help, you can find me or a safety officer. There will be a bonfire party later, and tomorrow morning at 6, we'll head down the mountain promptly. Those who wish to see the sunrise can wake up earlier. After descending, we'll start our rafting adventure. Great, it's finally over. I'm already looking forward to tomorrow's rafting. My legs feel like they're about to break from the hike. Are you going to watch the sunrise tomorrow? It's too early. I probably won't be able to get up. Everyone chattered away, and before long, tents began to go up one by one. Gathered around the bonfire, everyone leisurely ate the food they had brought. Please make sure to zip up your tents completely. This mountain area is home to wild animals, and some may try to steal your food. After the party, the safety officers and I will take care of the bonfire, and 2 safety officers will be on duty in shifts, so everyone can rest assured. After the party ended and I said goodbye to Lan Qiu, my boyfriend and I returned to our tent. Gradually, the temperature on the mountain dropped, and the lights in the various tents slowly faded, leaving only the faint glow of the bonfire around the campsite. My boyfriend was already asleep, but I tossed and turned in the tent, completely sleepless, scrolling through short videos on Douyin in silent mode. Suddenly, a rustling sound could be heard. A tall shadow appeared on the tent. I dared not make a sound, for the shadow bore no resemblance to a human. What was it? A beast, perhaps? My heart pounded with unease. Waking up the next day, everyone was already packing their belongings, preparing for the rafting trip. The events of last night had left my hair standing on end. In the end, I had not fallen asleep from exhaustion, but had fainted from fright, as I vaguely recalled hearing the sounds of an animal chewing and feeding. After breakfast, everyone set off. I noticed that while there had clearly been 2 safety officers with the guide yesterday, now there was only one. Could it be, was he the one devoured by a beast last night? Just a little further, everyone. We're almost at the rafting spot. Once we reach the waterfall, you can take photos freely, and those who want to raft can register with the safety officer. Great, this is the best activity. Hey, why isn't the other safety officer following us? It was then that everyone realized there had originally been 2 safety officers, but now only one was trailing the group. The safety officer had to leave the mountain for personal reasons. The company has already dispatched a new safety officer to take his place, who will arrive shortly, so please rest assured. Everyone. A sigh of relief escaped me. Thankfully, he had not been eaten by a beast. Oh, so that's what happened. Oh, come on, we spent a night in the wild and nothing happened, so it'll definitely be fine, don't worry. Exactly, let's not scare ourselves, with so many people. What could possibly go wrong? Upon hearing the guide's explanation, everyone felt relieved. Yet my sense of unease persisted. At that moment, the guide glanced at me, and I felt a shiver of apprehension. My boyfriend, noticing my pale complexion, asked, "What's wrong? You look so pale. Didn't you sleep well last night?" "A little, I guess. I just have a bad feeling." "Is it because you're scared of rafting? It's pretty normal to feel this way for your first time." Actually, yesterday, before I could finish, the guide's voice rang out. "Travelers who haven't tried rafting before can give it a go with friends. For those who enjoy thrills, please come and register with me and the safety officer. For those not participating in activity, you will have to walk to the next destination on your own. We'll meet at the bottom of the mountain later." Oh, why is it like this? Rafting sounds so scary. I've been climbing all morning. I really don't want to climb anymore. Perhaps hearing that non-participants would have to walk down the mountain on their own. Most travelers, already exhausted, were unwilling to walk any further. Before long, all the travelers had signed up for the activity. My boyfriend, Lan Qiu, and I registered together. Since Lan Qiu was traveling alone, I invited her to raft with us so we could look out for each other, and she readily agreed. The words left unsaid with my boyfriend had long been cast aside from my mind. I thoroughly enjoyed the exhilaration of rafting. The cool water splashing upon us dispelled the oppressive summer heat. Suddenly, screams and animal roars erupted from ahead, a truly terrifying sound. "Run, there's a bear. Help, run. The bear is catching up. Where are the safety officers? Help." The terrified and desperate screams of the people mingled with a cacophony of other sounds. Our tour group had encountered a bear, a 1 in 1,000 chance that had befallen us. A section of the rafting course was quite narrow, allowing only one boat to pass at a time. The water depth there was shallower than the subsequent stretch, and the current was not as swift. The bear dragged a person away. The man being pulled let out a harrowing scream that echoed throughout the entire valley, gradually fading until it was no more. The travelers queued behind this man continuously screamed. They all frantically jumped off their rafts, scattering in every direction and fleeing into the mountain forest. My boyfriend, Lan Qiu, and I also quickly jumped off the boat, attempting to find a safe place to hide. "Everyone, don't run around. Please gather together." The guide shouted strenuously through a megaphone. Soon, everyone gathered together at the guide's urgent call. The safety officer quickly located a cave, whose spacious interior was large enough to accommodate all of us. The original 13-person tour group, now excluding the safety officer who had descended the mountain and the tourist dragged away by the bear, was reduced to 11. Please do not panic. We have already contacted the Forest Patrol for rescue at the first opportunity. We sincerely apologize for this distressing experience and will fully refund all expenses once the rescue operation is complete. Gradually, a light rain began to fall in the mountains. Fortunately, this cave provided us with shelter. Otherwise, with the rain and the sudden drop in night temperatures, our group would quickly succumb to hypothermia and freeze to death in mountains. I am deeply saddened by this tourist's fate, but at this critical juncture, we must all remain united. The bear has likely already devoured him. Once a wild animal like a bear tastes human flesh, it will seek out prey with that scent again before its next hunger. Please, do not act alone. In this perilous moment, it is more crucial than ever for us to stick together. A few of the more timid individuals were already paralyzed with fear. Among the 11 individuals currently in the group, 5 are female and 6 are male. At the guide's suggestion, the safety officer, the guide, and the remaining male tourists were divided into 2 groups to take turns on watch. No one was permitted to leave the cave until the forest patrol arrived with reinforcements. The safety officer rekindled the fire, and with the help of the tourists, they collaboratively fashioned several simple self-defense tools. Spears crafted from thick tree branches were expected to have a certain deterrent effect on wild animals. After a night passed, the forest patrol had not arrived for rescue as expected. The safety officer attempted to use the satellite phone to request assistance again, but there was no response. At this moment, everyone was deep within the mountain forest, and none of their cell phones had even a single bar of signal. I felt intensely uneasy, and both my boyfriend and Lan Qiu ceaselessly tried to comfort me. Another day passed, and the safety officer noticed something amiss, speculating that the forest patrol might have met with misfortune en route, but quickly dismissed this unrealistic notion. How could a forest patrol armed with firearms possibly be overcome by a single bear? All the snacks and canned food everyone had brought were now depleted. If the rescue team did not arrive soon, we would starve to death in the mountains from lack of provisions, even if we avoided being eaten by wild beasts. Soon, a suggestion was made to divide into 2 groups, led by the guide and safety officer respectively, to search for food, aiming to survive until the rescue team's arrival. My boyfriend, Lan Qiu, the safety officer, and another male tourist were grouped together. The remaining group was led by the tour guide and consisted of 2 female and 3 male tourists. We split into 2 teams to search for supplies. Due to the vastness of the mountain forest, we had lost contact with the other team, and the safety officer's satellite phone couldn't reach the tour guide either. Left with no choice, we could only set up camp in a relatively safe location, taking the food we had found and some usable supplies. 2 days later, we finally re-established contact with the tour guide. However, upon reunion, their 6-person team now comprised only 3 individuals. This bear is too fierce, incredibly savage. In just 2 days, it has killed 3 more people. That's no longer a bear, it's a monster. I don't want to die here. I saw that bear bite off his head with my own eyes, starting from the neck, making crunching sounds. We will definitely make it out alive. The tour guide and safety officer reassured everyone. The current situation was extremely perilous. We unanimously voted to abandon waiting for the forest ranger team's rescue and instead find our own way out. Gradually, I began to notice that the safety officer seemed very unfamiliar with some of the mountain terrain, unable to even clearly discern directions. The other tourists also seemed to have noticed this. Finally, under everyone's insistent questioning, the safety officer reluctantly admitted that he was merely an adventure enthusiast with only superficial knowledge, and that his safety certificate was a fake purchased with money. The tour guide listened in disbelief. Once faith crumbles, it cannot be easily rebuilt. One of the men, in a fit of rage, punched the safety officer. Your wretched company clearly doesn't value the lives of its tourists. I'm going to sue you." Everyone dispersed, deciding it was better to find their own way to survive rather than follow the instructions of a safety officer who knew nothing. My boyfriend, Lan Kiu, and I also took some food and departed. The remaining tourists formed their own groups, leaving only the tour guide and the safety officer. Little did we know, after everyone had left, the tour guide and safety officer exchanged cold smiles. After everyone split up, the three of us continued to try and get our phones to pick up a signal so we could call for help. "Why don't we keep going forward? I've heard that in mountain forests like this, there are usually forest rangers living here," Lan Kiu suggested. My boyfriend and I agreed. Since we wouldn't be able to get out anytime soon anyway, we might as well try our luck. We could only pray that the bear wasn't active in this area. The three of us walked in the opposite direction from where the team had disbanded. "What's that smell? It stinks." Having been constantly fleeing in the initial stages, we had long since lost our way. We only knew we were currently at the foot of a mountain, approaching the halfway point, but exactly which mountain it was, we had no idea. As the odor grew increasingly foul, resembling both the stench of rotten eggs and the smell of decaying flesh. "Oh my God, it couldn't be the tourist eaten by the bear earlier, could it?" Lan Kiu exclaimed, pinching her nose. The stench became increasingly potent, causing me physical discomfort and continuous retching along the way. My boyfriend and Lan Kiu were also affected similarly. Suddenly, fragments of clothing and human remains appeared before us, belonging to the tourist who had been dragged away initially. The contents of the man's head had long been emptied, his eyeballs missing, leaving us only with a hollow-eyed, terrifying face. His other limbs were nowhere to be found, and the internal organs within his torso had been completely removed, leaving only a skeletal frame with a little attached flesh, a truly horrifying sight. Upon witnessing this scene, all three of us simultaneously vomited. A curse escaped my lips. It was utterly nauseating, and I clutched onto you tightly. Lan Kiu's face also turned pale. "We should leave quickly." Zhu Wei also strongly agreed with Lan Kiu's suggestion. "Assisting me," he stated, "indeed. This is no place to linger. To my knowledge, this bear dragged the tourist here to feed, and it neither dug a pit to bury the remains nor attempted to conceal its meal, which indicates that the area within at least 1 kilometer is part of its territory. It is highly probable that it is currently active in another part of its territory. Alternatively, it might be en route back to this very territory. Bears possess an exceptionally strong sense of territoriality. Upon hearing my boyfriend's analysis, Lan Kiu and I were instantly filled with dread. Should this bear return, all three of us would inevitably become its next meal. With this thought in mind, the three of us quickened our pace. We were now situated halfway up the mountain. We unanimously decided to head further up the mountain, hoping to receive even a weak signal there. This was because trees and slopes, both at the base and in the middle of the mountain, significantly obstructed and weakened signal reception. Perhaps by the grace of a higher power, the three of us discovered a two-story house nestled in the mountains. The house comprised 2 levels. Outside the house stood a concrete wall, rising 4 meters high and adorned with numerous sharp spikes. The main gate of the wall was securely closed. A doorbell was conspicuously mounted upon it. It appeared to be a simple doorbell. We pulled the bell outside the door. "Is anyone there? We are part of a tour group and encountered a bear on our journey. Could you please assist us?" Ding-a-ling, ding-dong. The sound of the doorbell was particularly piercing in the silent mountains. Moments later, there was still no response. Our last glimmer of hope was shattered. Just as we were about to turn and leave, the main door suddenly opened. "Come in!" A man, approximately 20, 7 or 28 years old, slowly pulled open the door, a hunting rifle slung across his back. By then, the sun had long set. We glanced at the time. It was already past 8 o'clock. Nighttime temperatures were far lower than during the day. The man prepared a cup of ginger tea for each of us. "Drink this. It will dispel the chill from your body." During our conversation with the man, we learned his name was Xingyan, a descendant of a family of hunters from these mountains. Several years prior, a major wild animal attack had occurred here. All the forest rangers originally stationed here were evacuated. 7 people died in that incident. Of the original 8 forest rangers, only a 9-year-old child remained. However, the remaining child was not spared. He lost both his legs and became mentally unstable during that event. The child was truly pitiable. All 8 who died were his family and relatives. When rescued, he continuously uttered incoherent words. He kept repeating, "It was second uncle who ate them. It was second uncle who ate them." Xingyan cleared 2 areas for us to rest for the latter half of the night. Suddenly, he said, "Perhaps what that child said is true. There might still be unknown creatures in these mountains." My boyfriend and Lan Qiu did not take Xingyan's words to heart, dismissing them as a small prank intended to scare us. While I found such a notion difficult to believe, I nonetheless felt a chilling sensation. Noticing the atmosphere had grown heavy, Xingyan chuckled lightly and said, "I was just joking. The 3 of you should get some rest." After exchanging good nights with Lan Qiu, we each retired to our assigned rooms and went to sleep. I slept beside my boyfriend. Xingyan's words echoed repeatedly in my mind, but eventually sleep overtook me and I drifted off. "You're awake, come quickly for breakfast," Xingyan said, carrying several plates of coarse grains. "There's not much to eat in the mountains, so please make do with this for now. Later, I'll contact the forest rangers and have them escort you back." "Thank you so much," we expressed with gratitude. "You are too kind. People from all corners of the world are friends." During breakfast, we recounted the entire incident to Xingyan. Xingyan's expression became solemn. "Did you just say that you encountered the bear on the river where you were rafting?" We nodded. The 3 of us did not personally see that bear, and we are unsure of its exact size. However, the tourists at the very front must have seen it. 2 of them were dragged away, and the bodies we discovered on the hillside were almost skeletal remains. What you encountered might not have been a bear. Perhaps what that child said is true. Perhaps there truly are other creatures that exist, and these creatures subsist on humans. Our eyes widened. What, are there no bears in this mountain region? Xingyan took a drag from his cigarette, inhaled deeply, and slowly exhaled, saying, "The mountain range we are currently in is on the south side. This area is home only to animals like rabbits and turkeys, and it is completely isolated from the northern mountain range. Only the northern mountain range harbors more ferocious animals such as brown bears and wolves. Originally, the mountain range was not divided into north and south. After the last attack, the forest rangers relocated all dangerous animals to the northern side for isolated protection. This particular area, featuring a location ideal for rafting, was subsequently leased by a tourism company and developed into a popular tourist destination. Regarding whether it was a bear, you yourselves did not witness it firsthand after all. You mentioned that after the incident, your guide and safety officer sought assistance from the forest rangers. Is that correct? Xingyan expertly flicked the ash from his cigarette. Yes. All of us followed their instructions and waited in the cave for rescue, but after waiting an entire day and night, no rescue personnel arrived. What's more outrageous is that the so-called safety officer was a fraud. He bought a certificate to infiltrate the team. He's an absolute scoundrel. I'll make a call to the forest rangers and inquire about this. Xingyun made the call using a satellite phone. A distress call. When did this happen? A few days ago. We have not received any distress calls within the past week. Understood. Please send a team from the southern mountain region. 3 travelers reported a brown bear attack, and 4 travelers have already died. We will send people over as soon as possible. Instruct them not to descend the mountain, but to wait in their current location for our rescue team. After hanging up the phone, Xingyun told us to stay here for the time being, informing us that the forest ranger team would likely arrive by tomorrow evening. As Xingyun recounted his experiences in the mountains, the doorbell suddenly rang. Is anyone there? I'm from the tour group. Our team was attacked. Can you help us? It looks like no one's here. Maybe we should leave first. Xingyun pulled us to the 2nd floor, where we observed for a while. Looking at the person outside the wall, we immediately recognized them as someone from our team. After receiving our confirmation, he went downstairs and opened the door. You scared me to death. I thought no one was here. The girl's face was deathly pale from fright. All right, stop dawdling. Get inside quickly. Do you want the bear to kill you? It was already evening, and I observed the 4 individuals before me. There was the guide, a male tourist, and 2 other women. The male tourist was a photography enthusiast named Zhu Zun. Of the other 2 female tourists, one was named Anna's, of Chinese-Russian descent, who was traveling in China. The other was Xiao, a gourmet. The security guard sacrificed himself to protect us, understand. Therefore, we must strive even harder to survive, for his sake as well. We absolutely must. The following day, a light rain began to fall. The few of us waited anxiously. Each day felt like a year. As the rain intensified, Xingyun's expression grew increasingly grim. We all clearly understood that if this heavy rain continued, it would lead to a landslide on the mountaintop, triggering a debris flow. The most dreaded event had come to pass. Due to the torrential rain, the forest patrol team, despite arriving early, found themselves isolated between 2 mountains. One section of the mountain had collapsed, forming a raging torrent under the relentless downpour. We could only wait anxiously inside the house. Gradually, the rain ceased, but the swift current created by the collapse still cut off the forest patrol team. We were forced to walk to the other side of the rapids, where we crossed the river using sturdy ropes set up by the forest patrol team. Everyone, do not panic. Come across one by one in an orderly fashion. All 3 of us have safely made it across. Just as the 2 remaining tourists were making their way over, 2 enormous dark figures suddenly appeared about 50 meters away. Although visibility in the mountains was extremely low, everyone on our side of the bank clearly understood what these 2 behemoths signified. Quickly accelerate. The captain of the forest patrol team roared. The captain and forest rangers aimed their guns at whatever was behind them. Xingyun also drew her hunting rifle, ready to pull the trigger at any moment. Zhu Zun, who had not yet reached the bank, looked back and was terrified. Ignoring the painful rush of the water against his body, he summoned all his strength and made it to the bank in one breath. When only Xiao and Xingyun remained, one of the bears, deterred by the crowd, had already retreated. The other bear suddenly charged frantically towards Xiao. Terrified, she fled aimlessly in various directions like a headless fly. Seeing this, Xingyun immediately fired a shot. The bear was incredibly fast, directly swatting Xingyun away. Xingyun was instantly thrown to the ground and lay motionless. Just as the bear's claw was about to reach Xiao, several gunshots rang out, and the brown bear collapsed, lifeless. Where is the bear? How did it disappear? After a few minutes of vigilance, there was no sign of the second bear. The forest patrol team quickly accelerated their pace, swimming towards the bank, guided by the safety rope. The surviving Zaiwawe, looking at where the bear had fallen, spoke incoherently. He was a safety officer. The bear turned into a safety officer. The captain was the first to check on Xingyan, finding that she was still breathing, merely temporarily unconscious. After waking Xingyan, they heard Zaiwao's nonsensical remarks. How could a bear possibly be a safety officer? Xingyan also stood stunned in place. He remembered what the deranged child had said 3 years ago. Second uncle had devoured mother. They are called Morozrola, capable of transforming into any creature to deceive and then consume them. I am not sick. I truly am not lying to you. They are very dangerous. Second uncle told me so himself. Xingyan was carried by the captain to the opposite bank. Zaiwawe, having narrowly escaped the bear's jaws, was too stunned to speak. Everyone should rest here for a while. After Xingyan recovers, we will take a detour from this side and temporarily return to the previous location, remaining in his house. Why, we've waited so long for rescue. I absolutely refuse to stay in this godforsaken place. I don't want to either. The captain informed everyone about the situation of the other small team waiting for them down the mountain. Due to the recent heavy rainfall, the situation down the mountain was not optimistic. It would be best to set off tomorrow afternoon. No one wished to remain in the wilderness, so they agreed to the suggestion. After Xingyan awoke, she led us back to the previous house via another route. A moment later, Xingyan gathered us together and very seriously told us about Morozrola. Morozrola, what is that? Don't joke around. Everyone, please listen to me. I also find it incredible, but you all saw with your own eyes that the bear transformed into a safety officer. He was the first safety officer to descend the mountain, wasn't he? Although I don't know why he chose to hunt down Zaiwawe, even with so many people present. But he must have been provoked by something. I personally believe this creature is extremely cunning. We all fell silent, because Xingyan's analysis was 90% accurate. Something suddenly clicked into place in my mind. From the disappearance of the first safety officer, followed by the appearance of the brown bear, panic was created among everyone. The goal was to scatter the group, allowing them to seize the opportunity to pick off and devour isolated travelers one by one. My boyfriend, Lan Qiu, and I were always together, which is why the brown bear did not attack us. Because Xingyan said that all the bears were in the northern mountains, and we were in the southern mountains where there were no bears originally. They were all manifestations of Morozrola. From now on, no one is allowed to leave the house. Because any one of us could be Morozrola. Everyone agreed with Xingyan's idea. Xingyan looked calmly at the captain and slowly began to speak. Captain, I have a question. Why are there only you and one forest ranger? Where are the remaining forest rangers? Due to the emergency at the time, our team dispatched a total of 4 people. Coinciding with torrential rain, and to constantly monitor the safety of the path down the mountain, we split into 2 groups, one for rescue, and the other remaining at the base of the mountain to observe its condition. Oh, that was very thoughtful. I was overthinking. Please forgive me, Captain. It's fine. Everyone spent that night filled with trepidation. The next day, Anna's woke up early while everyone else was still fast asleep. From a second-story window, she saw her old friend Hilary not far from the house. In an instant, as if under a spell, she rushed downstairs and ran out. Anna's commotion was so loud that everyone was awakened. Everyone tried to dissuade Anna's, but to no avail. Anna's, don't go, that's a fake. Xingyan rushed downstairs as fast as she could, yet still failed to catch Anna's. She could only quickly shut the main door tight. Anna's had suffered a mental breakdown in the preceding days. She was unable to accept anything outside of her comprehension. The figure outside, she believed, was her dear friend, her lover, Hilary. Anna's ran towards Hilary and embraced her tightly. "My dear, do you know how much I've missed you?" As Anna's cupped Hilary's face, preparing to kiss her, Hilary mercilessly twisted her neck, breaking it. She then dragged Anna's away in front of everyone. These creatures should not exist. They are nothing short of devils. They exist solely for slaughter. What do we do? Is it my turn next? Let's not argue for now. We are safe for the moment, so everyone, please get some rest. The captain comforted. Currently, there are 9 of us. Xingyun's house has 5 habitable rooms, 3 downstairs and 2 upstairs. After assigning rooms, my boyfriend Zhu Wai and I stayed in the first room on the ground floor. Yu Zun and Xingyun occupied the room opposite ours, while the forest ranger captain and a forest ranger were in the adjacent room. Between the opposing rooms was a corridor, which faced the staircase. Anyone going upstairs would invariably pass through the corridor of the 3 downstairs rooms. The remaining 2 rooms were not opposite each other. Their windows both faced the same direction. Initially, everyone suggested that Lan Qiu and Xiao Xiaowei share a room, but Lan Qiu was very uncomfortable sleeping with strangers. Thus, it was decided that Lan Qiu would stay in the second room, which was directly above the captain and the forest ranger's room. The adjacent room was for Zunyu and Xiao Xiaowei, and my boyfriend's and my room was located directly beneath theirs. After the assignments were made, everyone retired early. Upon waking the next day, I discovered an airdrop on my phone. It was from Lan Qiu. The image was a screenshot of a memo, on which was written, "Take a photo with your phone." Perplexed by the screenshot, I prepared to go upstairs to ask Lan Qiu what the image she sent meant. Immediately after, Xiao Xiaowei's scream echoed from upstairs. Everyone was awakened by the sound. As my boyfriend and I ascended the stairs, we saw everyone gathered in a circle in Lan Qiu's room. I quickly pushed aside the people in front of me. Lan Qiu was dead. The cause of death appeared to be suicide by wrist slashing. The wounds on her wrists were clearly visible, with no signs of a struggle. However, I was certain she would never commit suicide. She must have been killed by Moliozuola, and that monster was now among our team. I had not mentioned the message Lan Qiu left for me before her death to anyone, including my boy friend Zhu Wai. I believed she must have discovered Moliozuola's secret. Xingyun, who was the first to discover the body? Xiao Xiao, eh? It was Zhengyu and I. Zhengyu, that's right, it was Xiao Xiaowei and I. We had intended to go to Lan Qiu's room together to ask her to come downstairs for a meal. When we went in, we saw her. There was a lot of blood on the bed and on the floor. She was already gone when we entered. Xiao Xiao, eh? I can corroborate what Zhengyu said. We also checked the window in her room. It was locked tight. Captain, how can we be sure that the 2 of you aren't in cahoots? What if both of you are Moliozuola, covering for each other? Moreover, there were only 3 of you on the entire 2nd floor, and for Moliozuola, an isolated Lan Qiu would be an easier target. We all found the captain's analysis to be very reasonable. It was decided to reassign rooms first. After tidying up the downstairs storage room, it was ultimately decided that everyone would stay on the 1st floor. My boyfriend and I still occupied the 1st room. Next door were Zhu Zun and Xingyun. The room opposite now housed the suspects Xiao Xiaowei and Zhengyu, and next to them resided the captain and the forest ranger. The room arrangements were settled. After discussion, everyone decided that Lan Qiu's body would be taken back for burial only after Moliozuola was found and eliminated. Therefore, Lan Qiu's body remained in the room on the 2nd floor. Everyone returned to their respective rooms early, privately harboring mutual suspicions. I reflected on the day's events, recalling the only message Lan Qiu had left for me. Take a photo with your phone. Could it be that taking a photo with a phone could distinguish Malioziola? As I looked at my boyfriend beside me, a thought suddenly sprang into my mind. What if he was? What are you thinking about? My boyfriend asked, turning his head to look at me. Nothing. Let's take a photo, just as a souvenir, if we manage to make it back alive. Her boyfriend agreed. First, I took a picture with the front-facing camera. Then, claiming it didn't look good, I took another with the rear-facing camera. My heart was filled with fear as I checked the photos, for I was gambling with my life. I breathed a sigh of relief when I saw that the photo had not changed. Waking up the next day, Zhu Zun was dead, his demise a gruesome sight. Xing Yun became our primary suspect. The captain questioned, Xing Yun, you and Zhu Zun stayed together last night. You are Morizarola, aren't you? Xing Yun replied, I don't know what you're talking about. Xing Yun and the captain continued to argue, the captain gripping Xing Yun's collar. He pressed, if you're not, why would Morizarola kill him and leave you alive? You were sleeping in the same room. Did you not notice anything when he was murdered? Xing Yun pushed the captain away and casually lit a cigarette, saying, Captain, you are truly suspicious. Why are you deliberately trying to make everyone suspect me? As I said, a creature like Morizarola is cunning. It deliberately killed Zhu Zun while I was asleep, ensuring that I would be the first suspect. Clearly, Morizarola achieved its goal because I discovered some secret, and it wants to manipulate everyone's perception to give you a reason to eliminate me. The captain retorted, I don't have the right to execute you, but everyone else seems to think so. Xing Yun suddenly sneered. Stop pretending, Captain. I've long since figured it out. You and the forest ranger are Morizarola. We were all stunned, but Xing Yun offered no evidence, and his claims were clearly met with disbelief. Xing Yun continued, Actually, I am no hunter's son. I am merely a fugitive who, out of desperation, fled into these mountains. Initially, I lived harmoniously with the old man residing here, and I was grateful for his shelter. However, by an unfortunate coincidence, this old man discovered my true identity, leaving me no choice but to kill him. That day, I did indeed make a distress call. However, the forest patrol's agreed time with us was night, yet you two arrived a full 10 hours early, deceiving us by claiming the remaining 2 patrol members were on stand by at the foot of the mountain. In reality, those 2 patrol members at the mountain's base were purely fictitious, weren't they? Given the condition of the mountain roads, the earliest rescue could arrive would be at least 3 in the afternoon. Therefore, you ambushed them in advance and killed them. The person eavesdropping in the tree that day was your accomplice, wasn't it, Captain? You disguised yourselves as forest rangers. As for that bear, oh no, Morizarola, it was due to prolonged starvation that it couldn't control its bestial urges, and therefore charged at Xiao without hesitation. Tusk, monsters like you can even shoot down your own kind without hesitation. The captain attempted to draw the pistol from his waist to shoot Xing Yun dead on the spot. However, Xing Yun, this desperate outlaw, perceived the danger more quickly, drew a dagger, slit the captain's throat, swiftly seized the captain's pistol, eliminated the remaining forest rangers, and then fired several additional shots into their 2 bodies. The incident unfolded too suddenly, leaving us all stunned in place. No one dared to step forward, each fearing that they would be the next to die. The bodies of the captain and the forest rangers were already cold, but neither had undergone a drastic transformation like the wild bear before them. Xiao, exclaimed, that's too cruel. They are not Morizarola at all. You've murdered innocent people. Xing Yun glared at her with a sinister expression and said, I am an outlaw. Are you talking about cruelty to me? Aren't you a little too naive? Zhao Xiao A was instantly silenced. Xing Yan then added, "Rest assured, although I am a desperate outlaw, I still adhere to basic principles. Of course, those principles are subject to my mood, ha ha ha. Everyone, please return to your rooms. After all, you will all be the protagonists of this death game shortly. Until then, I am still quite happy to continue playing my role as the hunter." We were individually forced back into our rooms by Xingyan, who held a gun to each of our heads. Under such absolute suppression, resistance was impossible. Now, besides Xingyan, there were only 4 of us left: my boyfriend, Zhao Xiao, Zaniyan, and myself. 2 hours later, Xingyan forced us all out, one by one. "Now, all of you, look closely and see if these 2 are indeed Morazarola." We all fell silent. Before us were 2 hideous figures, their entire bodies covered in mottled gray-black skin, their limbs exhibiting fine, stony-textured protrusions with pointed goblin-like ears and conjoined toes on their feet, making them indistinguishable from monsters. This was their true form. The Morazarola had first transformed into the appearance of a security guard, maintaining this disguise within the team, and after leaving, it had transformed into a wild bear to cause panic. Because it had transformed twice after being killed, it first reverted to its first transformed appearance before finally returning to its true form. Xingyan was wiping her handgun with a cloth. "From now on, every day you must vote to select the Morazarola among our group. Of course, you may also choose me. According to my deduction, there is at least one more Morazarola among us. If you successfully vote out the real Morazarola, I will let the rest of you go. But if you make a mistake and kill the wrong person, it's not my responsibility." For us, this death game was utterly inhumane. "You have 30 minutes to think. Write your votes on these cards, and after 30 minutes, I will announce the results." I quickly calmed down. Currently, including Xingyan, there were 5 people in total, and my boyfriend and I counted as 2 votes. If Zhao Xiao and Zaniyan both voted for either my boyfriend or me, and my boyfriend and I both voted for either of them, then the final deciding vote would rest with Xingyan, leading to a fatal outcome for whoever was chosen. So far, Zhao Xiao and Zaniyan were the primary suspects, and Xingyan was highly likely to vote for one of them. In that case, Zhao Xiao and Zaniyan would vote for Xingyan respectively, while my boyfriend and I would vote for Zhao Xiao. The result of such a vote would be Xingyan 2 votes, Zhao Xiao, a 1 vote, Zaniyan 1 vote, me 0 votes, my boyfriend 0 votes. Regardless of whom Xingyan voted for, this round of voting would be invalidated. That is, if Xingyan voted for either Zhao Xiao or Zaniyan, it was highly probable that either Zhao Xiao or Zaniyan would also receive 2 votes. This would result in Xingyan 2 votes, Zhao Xiao, a 2 votes, Zaniyan 1 vote, me 0 votes, my boyfriend 0 votes, or Xingyan 2 votes, Zhao Xiao, a 1 vote, Zaniyan 2 votes, me 0 votes, my boyfriend 0 votes. In such a tie, there would be no clear highest vote count. If another vote were initiated between Zhao Xiao and Xingyan, my boyfriend and I, with our 2 decisive votes, could completely ensure the votes remained tied. After all, Xingyan had not stipulated that abstentions were forbidden, so the vote could be invalidated. What if Xingyan didn't vote for either Zhao Xiao or Zaniyan, but instead voted for me or my boyfriend? My boyfriend and I would both vote for Xingyan, and Zhao Xiao and Zaniyan would either vote for each other or both vote for Xingyan. Then the voting results would be Xingyan 2 votes or 4 votes, Zhao Xiao, a 1 vote, Zaniyan 1 vote, me 1 vote, my boyfriend 0 votes. Xingyan received 2 votes or 4 votes, Zhao Xiao, a 1 vote, Zanyu 1 vote, I 0 votes, and my boyfriend 1 vote. Ultimately, Xing Yun was elected with the most votes. However, as the initiator, it was impossible for him to preside over his own election, and so the vote was certain to be invalidated. As anticipated, the tied vote was indeed declared void. "You are indeed clever, but I am not falling for that." After speaking, Xing Yun immediately shot and killed Zunyu. Zhao Xiaowei was instantly terrified, collapsing to the ground with weak legs. Shrugging as if nothing had happened, Xing Yun declared, "The last one in the room has been dealt with. You can all sleep soundly now. Before I change my mind, leave on your own tomorrow." "Wait, how are you so sure that Zunyu is Morozrola?" I asked, perplexed. "You told me yourself. Based on all your experiences, she is the prime suspect." Upon returning to the room, my boyfriend and I both breathed a sigh of relief, discussing how we would return home tomorrow. Everything was over. No, something seemed to have been overlooked. When I awoke again, it was already daylight. As my boyfriend and I exited our room, we discovered Xing Yun's door ajar, and a sense of foreboding washed over us. My boyfriend and I cautiously entered. Xing Yun lay prone on the bed, his head twisted 180 degrees. His skull had been completely emptied, his entire face resembled a human skin mask, and his back was hollow, leaving only his spine and bones. The body had already stiffened, and based on the current rigor mortis, he had been dead for at least 6 or 7 hours. Considering the overall state of the corpse, the time of death was likely between 1:30 a.m. and 2:30 a.m. All his limbs were intact. His right hand gripped a gun, with his index finger resting on the trigger. It was evident that he had encountered sudden danger, being fatally struck before he even had a chance to fire his weapon. The moment I saw the body, although my boyfriend immediately covered my eyes, the initial sight was already etched into my mind. My stomach churned violently, and after vomiting in the restroom, my boyfriend and I still decided to search Xing Yun's room, intending to retrieve any weapons for self-defense first. Now, all we could do was exert every effort to protect ourselves. The 2 pistols belonging to the captain and the ranger had been with Xing Yun. My boyfriend and I each took one. Xing Yun's hunting rifle had been lost when he was struck by the bear. Now, only 3 individuals remained in the house: my boyfriend, Zhao Xiaowei, and I. Could Zhao Xiaowei not be human? Consequently, my boyfriend and I exchanged a glance. Holding the pistols, we slowly opened Zhao Xiaowei's door. We found Zhao Xiaowei still in a deep slumber. Seeing the sleeping pills on the table, we instantly understood what had happened. Fortunately, the dosage of sleeping pills was not excessive, and we eventually managed to wake her. "What are you doing? Don't kill me, please don't kill me." We holstered our guns, allowing her to calm down. Xing Yun was dead. I stated that Zhu Wei's gun had been on his person. "Did you kill him?" No. He must have been killed by Morozero. If you can bear it, you might want to look in his room." "I won't look. It must be very bloody." After reassuring Zhao Xiaowei, I shared my suspicions with them. Currently, there might only be one Morozero left. I strove to recall something I seemed to have forgotten: those 2 bears. "Do you still remember what happened on the day of the rescue?" "I do. There were 2 bears that day. One of them charged directly at me, intent on tearing me apart. The first bear was already dead. It was a manifestation of Morozero. It was the security guard who initially descended the mountain. Let's go confirm Zun's body." My boyfriend, Zhao Xiaowei, and I went to the hall to examine Zun's body. Indeed, it had transformed into Morozero's true form. Xing Yun's conjecture was correct. He had correctly identified Zun as Morozero and killed him with a single strike. Everything that had been forgotten suddenly linked together. Zan Yu and both security guards were all Morozero. Xiao Xiao questioned, but the second security guard saved us, and he himself was dragged away. The second security guard was indeed dragged away. However, that might just be a diversion tactic by them. They create the illusion of death to carry out their subsequent plan. What plan? My boyfriend and Xiao Xiao spoke in unison. I glanced around the hall and at the stairs, then pulled my boyfriend and Xiao Xiao into her room, gently closing the door. I spoke in an extremely hushed voice. Do you remember what we all did after Lan Qiu was murdered? We left the body where it was, waiting for the rescue team to arrive before taking it back for burial. Exactly. Who was the first to suggest that? My boyfriend and Xiao Xiao suddenly realized the truth. It was the captain and Zunyu. After Lan Qiu's murder, I've been making guesses based on the clues. You and Zun lived in the same room. Judging by your sleeping pill dosage, your sleep situation isn't very optimistic, is it? That's right. I have severe sleep disorders and need medication to maintain deep sleep. I continued my speculation. On the day she was murdered, you took the same dosage of sleeping pills as usual. I must say, you were incredibly bold. Perhaps you took them with the attitude that you were prepared to die. Once you were in a deep sleep, Zun and the security guard collaborated from inside and out. Although all 3 rooms on the first floor were occupied at the time, their doors were mostly closed. Furthermore, we had not arranged for anyone to stand guard in shifts, so even if someone walked along the path from the first to the second floor, they would not have been discovered at all. In fact, I've always suspected that the body of Lan Qiu we saw back then might have been fake. Zunyu first waited until we were asleep, then let the security guard in. The security guard then consumed Lan Qiu, leaving no bones behind. Finally, it transformed into Lan Qiu's appearance, faking a wrist, lashing suicide. I clearly recall that you said at the time you had confirmed Lan Qiu could no longer be saved. Consequently, no one else went to verify it. However, in reality, you did not participate in the confirmation. Zunyu told you directly. Xiao Xiao nodded, confirming that my guess was correct. At this point, my boyfriend and Xiao Xiao also had a rough idea. The last Morozero was clearly in the second floor room. It had transformed into Lan Qiu's corpse, and Xingyan had been killed by it. At present, although the 3 of us had a theory, none dared to investigate rashly. If it were true, and it attacked suddenly, the 3 of us with no self-defense skills would be no match for it. At my suggestion, both my boyfriend and I hid in Xiao Xiao's room. A large wardrobe stood directly opposite her bed. Compared to under the bed, the wardrobe directly facing it would allow us to rush out and save her the moment danger arrived. Only 3 of us remained. The Morozero would certainly act again tonight. Compared to my boyfriend, who was staying with me, Xiao Xiao was clearly an easier target. If my conjecture was correct, it would surely come to Xiao Xiao's room tonight to devour her. Midnight. The room door was slowly opened. Xiao Xiao lay facing away from the door, extremely nervous without her sleeping pills. The moment the Morozero entered the room, all of Xiao Xiao's hair stood on end. Just as it reached for Xiao Xiao, my boyfriend and I, guided by the faint moonlight, fired a shot at the dark figure, then burst out of the wardrobe. Xiao Xiao, gathering all her strength, sprang from the bed and switched on the bedside lamp. Only then did we clearly see it. It was Lan Qiu's corpse. My conjecture had been entirely correct. Regrettably, that shot had not struck its vital spot. It cried, "How could you possibly have guessed?" After speaking, It lunged with all its might at Zaiwawe, plunging its 5 fingers into the area of her heart, brutally tearing away her heart muscle. The speed was astonishing. By the time my boyfriend and I reacted, Zaiwawe's heart was already in its grasp. My boyfriend and I fired several shots in succession before it finally fell to the ground. After firing several more shots and repeatedly confirming that it was utterly lifeless, we both dared to collapse onto the ground. The last Morozrola had also been dealt with by us. We felt profound guilt and pain for failing to save Zaiwawe. After all, a living person had met a tragic end right before our eyes. We returned to our room, eventually succumbing to unconsciousness due to the immense mental strain. The next day, I awoke to find it was already noon. My boyfriend and I embraced, weeping tears of relief, grateful to still be alive. Suppressing a wave of nausea, I re-entered Xingyun's room. After searching for a moment, I located the satellite phone. I immediately sent our location to the forest ranger team, requesting rescue. Meanwhile, my boyfriend buried both the body and the firearms in the earth. Finding some meat in the house, I quickly cooked it and devoured it ravenously. The seasoning was so strong that I couldn't tell if it was beef or chicken. What kind of meat is this? It's likely goat meat. We found it in the water tank. I thought it had a strong gamey smell, so I added more seasoning. What's wrong? Is it not good? It's a bit salty. After replenishing our energy, we descended the mountain to await rescue from the forest rangers. Eventually, under the escort of the forest rangers, we left that dreadful place. We returned to our rented apartment, both marveling at our miraculous escape. Ziohua, the stray cat my boyfriend and I had rescued, continuously rubbed against our legs, clearly having missed us dearly. Zhu, why? To celebrate our narrow escape, let's take another photo. If I ever venture into such mountains again, you must show me this photo to remind me how lucky I was to survive. All right. At that moment, Ziohua kept rubbing against my leg and meowing at me. What's wrong, Ziohua? Do you want to be in a photo too? Meow meow. Ziohua seemed to understand my words, responding with meows. All right, don't rush. I'll take your picture now. I crouched down with my phone, and just as I was about to switch to the rear camera to take a photo of Ziohua, her 2 front paws latched onto the phone. I lost my grip, and the phone fell, lodging between my shoe and the ground. Fortunately, it didn't shatter. At this moment, my boyfriend was engrossed in his phone, facing me. As I picked up my phone, I accidentally pressed the camera button. Just as I picked up Ziohua and was about to ask my boyfriend for a selfie, I noticed a picture already developed in the bottom left corner. I tapped on it, intending to delete it. The photo revealed a monster with goblin-like ears. It was a phone photo. It turned out one had to invert the phone to truly see the real face of Morozrola. Lin Yu, are we still taking the picture? My boyfriend stared at me, a faint smile on his face. I suddenly awoke with a jolt from the bed, only to realize it had merely been a nightmare. My boyfriend was by my bedside and embraced me. You, what's wrong? Did you have a nightmare? I nodded, feeling a sense of relief within my heart. Recalling the scene from my dream, I secretly picked up my phone, inverted it, and clandestinely aimed its camera at him while still in his embrace. On the phone screen, a grotesque monster with mottled, hideous skin stared fixedly back at me.